Well, hold it just a minute. We got to get everything simmered down a little bit, please. All right. Shall we cease all conversation, please? Moving around in the back. You can stay back there if you wish. But we ask that you devote or put your attention toward the presentation at all times. Okay, now if you're ready back there. All right. Tonight, it's with pleasure that I introduce to you Jean Romeo, who is an associate of our next presenter. She knows him extremely well because they write books together, they collaborate on various things, and she can tell you many things about Robert Morning Sky that I don't know. So will you first welcome Jean Romeo from Phoenix, Arizona, please.
Thank you very much, Dean, for allowing me this opportunity to introduce someone whose work I highly respect. Your next presenter is internationally known as a lecturer, a writer, and a researcher of some 30-plus years. He's appeared on numerous television programs, radio stations throughout our country and also all through Europe. Robert's work includes many books: The Terra Papers, which is the hidden history of planet Earth, The World's Oldest Religion, Guardians of the Grail, Eden, Atlantis, and the UFO Myth, Morning Sky Prophecies, and all of his works are exceptional. Robert will be doing a workshop tomorrow evening, so if you're interested, please sign up outside. I've known Robert for several years, and I've come to respect him immensely. And there's one thing about Robert that if you look really carefully, you might notice. He's an Indian. He is Hopi and Apache, and tonight we get a rare treat. We get to watch him fly. So it is with great honor that I present to you Robert Morning Sky, the Renegade.
Is that on? Oh. You know, thank you, Jean. How do you think she knew I was an Indian the first time we met? Thank you. Certainly, Dean, Dennis, and Carol, thank you to the Congress for having me here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Had I known this was going to be such an occasion, I'd have gotten dressed for it. Wow, check you out. Are you sure you got the right lecture? This is Blasphemy and Sacrilege 101? So you got it? Okay. Before I do some of the dances, and I really have, years ago I actually lived near Denver. I lived in Estes Park. There was a ranch up there, a guest ranch, and I was performing up there, and I came down to Denver. I got to perform in the Coliseum and several of the hotels, so it's kind of like I've come back, and it's interesting to be back in Denver. And I gotta warn you, okay? Or perhaps it'd be best to say, let me advise you. According to the weather station, there are already clouds in the air, and there is already a potential for rain. Okay? Please, it wasn't me. This is a fancy dance outfit. It weighs 35 pounds. It has to be made by hand. I have the great pride and honor in saying, I made this boy. You can't go into Indians R Us and get this off the rack. I made every single stitch, every bead, every feather. It's tied on here. It's mine. And ladies, this is an outfit that is used by young men who seek to prove that they have passion, to show you that they have fire. Later on this evening, should the women in the audience request it, we'll do a passion dance. We'll show you a dance that every single man in Native America long ago had to do. You had to show your passion, and if you didn't, she wasn't going to pick you. Because in Native America in general, it was the woman who picked the man, but particularly in my world. I am Hopi and Apache. I am a full-blooded Native American. I am not a wannabe. Far too many wannabes out there, folks. I am full-blooded Hopi and Apache, and in the Hopi world, the woman did the courting. The woman asked the man to marry, and the man left his home and his village and his family, and he came and he stayed with her in her home, in her village, and her family. And he often took her last name. In the Hopi world, life revolves around the woman. And in the workshop tomorrow, we're going to touch on the fact that the Hopi people are one of the few native people still alive, still adhering to practices that put the woman ahead of all things. And in one of our latest series, we're writing the world's oldest religion, a series of books in which we show quite clearly that the first divinity, the first deity, the oldest divine figures were that of a female. The first divinity of humankind was a woman. Want to see some Indian magic? Watch this. Gentlemen, hold your pose. Ladies, take a look at him. See how nice and calm he is. How quiet and nonchalant. Go ahead, Indian. Nothing you can say is going to bother me. Watch this. In the Hopi world, life revolves around the female. In the Hopi world, the creator of all things was a female. In the Hopi world, it is the woman who asks the man to marry, and he surrenders his all to her, becoming one with the stars. The world's oldest religion, prior to the Sumerian and the Egyptian, the goddess was the all. The universe, the earth, and all things revolved around the female. And in fact, gentlemen, nature revolves around the female. Because if you look out in nature, you know who has to dance and get all dressed up and who has to whistle and show his song and his nest-building abilities? The male. Which one of the lions has the mane and has to show his strength and his prowess? The male. Look in the fish world. It's the male who has to prove himself to the female. And in the old days, when I went to courtship powwows, we were required to dance 30 hours in a 3-day period to show the woman that we had the passion, that we had the endurance, that we had the stamina, and we had the grace. Because, gentlemen, Native American women know a secret. Ladies who are here tonight, let me tell you a secret that Indian women know. If a man can't dance, then he can't dance. The first song I want to do is called The Old Man's Plains Buffalo. In this dance, the older folk, the guys who are considered to be elderly, those 80 and above, had to do this dance. Now, I'm going to have to go down on this floor. This stage is a little unstable. My understanding is you'll be able to see me on the TV screen. Let me hop down. And I'm going to try to talk my way through this dance. Oh, damn Indians sneaking up on me every time. And I am not offended. You will not steal my soul. You will not take my fire if you take my picture. If you would like to come up to the sides with your camera, please feel free. Ladies, if you want to step up to the side and show you how savages move. You're welcome. All right, let's start. This is an old man's Plains Buffalo. I've got a lot to try to squeeze in here in 50 minutes. So if, let me hear some old man's Plains Buffalo here. This is a dance. Go ahead and start it whenever you're ready. Now, the basic rule in dancing is you must keep the beat. You have no idea, gentlemen, how important that is. An 80-year-old man feels the pride, and he steps out on the dance floor, and he simply shows that he's got the beat, and he's proud. Now the moves include a couple of back steps. Spry old man. And in the song, partway through, he gets to show how once he was a powerful and great hunter. Now this is what a 90-year-old man does. Little strut. Now remember, the old folks come out and do this dance. Now, he goes to a powwow, and dancing in the circle, he sees her. What a babe. And like a peacock, is she noticing? Now, that's a 90-year-old. Let's speed it up just a tad. Let's do Daj's song. This one, every young man, every little boy has to learn. He's got to be able to show he has the passion, the grace, the stability, and I'm a mile high. Isn't that funny? I ain't tired, but where's the air? Now, I know you're not going to believe this. I swear to you it's true. Every day in Phoenix, Arizona, from 100 plus to 115 degrees, I run at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's called stress running. If you can run in that kind of heat, then you can run anywhere. So I'm astonished here. All right, Daj's song. Now, in this one, you got to catch the beat. As soon as you enter the circle, it's catching the beat. Very simple. A little heavier pace. Then you begin to add some moves. Little bounce. Now, a young man who wants a woman to notice him has to dance in a powwow at this pace for approximately 8 hours a day, 3 days in a row. But it's not that tough because it's a 10-hour powwow. So you get 2 hours off every day. It's true. Yeah, you got to balance. It's not enough. He'll turn to the left, right. This is called doing fours. You're touching each corner. Then back step. Doing fours, balance, rhythm, beat, and more than anything, staying with the drum. When we dance, what we are trying to show the women is that we can remain one with the drum. If we can remain one with the drum, we can stay one with your heart. Now the drum dies down. Little finish. Now, you finish at the feet of the woman that you want to notice you. There. Did she notice me? Well, you ever wonder why Indians have braids? Did you ever wonder? 2 reasons. One, long hair is a sign of beauty. The longer the hair, the more beautiful the individual, male or female. But then we braid it. I don't braid it anymore. Because when you dance, you stop in front of her and you lean forward with the braid in the hopes that she'll reach out, grab it. Okay, Indian, you're coming home with me. Braids, ladies and gentlemen, are Indian love handles. Now, I've heard what you call love handles. Did you go ahead and start this? I have put together a very quick tape in the hopes that I can make some points. I'm a savage. I'm a primitive. No, really. I don't believe in the civilized world. Do you know what civilized means? Domesticated. This is an intro. Can you hear it? Excuse me. This is an intro to one of our new shows in which we begin oh, how clever. And we begin with the void, the beginning of time, the beginning of all things, and we proceed through the Hopi prophecies, the Egyptian prophecies, even biblical prophecies, and we show that there is a common thread that suggests very strongly, not that there are people possessed of prophecy, but that there is a pattern, there is a cycle in our history. Every so often, the world comes to a cataclysmic end. There are geological straits, there are evidence everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, can I stand down here? These are some of the, oh yes. These are some of the conferences that I've done. These are some of the magazine articles that have been written about me. Don't believe them, okay? Because I've had so many interviews, and by the time they get into print, it's not what I said. It really isn't. I've been misquoted in some amazing magazines that are the foundation of the UFO New Age community. Misquoted. Oh, this is from England. I once sent a paper and said, gee, you know what? I think I can decipher the Santilli hieroglyphs. The next thing you know, it was all over the news in Europe, made it into the States. This is a picture of a star warrior. I grew up as a young man, going out in the hillsides in the evenings, and I looked into the skies, and every once in a while, one of those stars would start to dance. And I said, Granddad, what is that? He said, it's a star warrior. And I vowed at that time that someday I would become a star warrior. I have competed in fancy dance competitions, traditional and grass competitions. I placed 7th in the nation a few years ago. The average career of a fancy dancer, you'll understand a little bit later, it's about 32 to 33 years of age when they retire. Oh, got to go this way? Okay. I turned 51 last week, and I'm still dancing. I was in in Australia, and I got to dance with Aborigines. Oh, let me tell you something. I took my mock show Native American dance troupe. We're reviving it this year. Champion dancers from several states across the Southwest. 13 champion dancers, all of them with ribbons and titles. We went to Australia. This is the dance troupe that made it. 3-year-old Billy Whitehorse, champion hoop and eagle dancer. This is yours truly here on the end, so you couldn't tell. Always, if you go to a powwow and you look for me, always look for the Indian with the long hair. This is Billy Whitehorse, 3 years old, hoop dancer, eagle dancer. Richard Bugby, now the Assistant Director of Indian Affairs at the San Diego Museum of Man. First time in history, Native American, Maori, and Aborigine danced in a circle, and I will tell you, not without difficulties. The Australian government said, no, Robert, you can't do it. I did it. I nearly got kicked out. And I danced with Aborigines. This is a courtship dance. Butterfly. This is what a young Aborigine man has to do to prove himself to a woman. Watch these knees. That is humanly impossible. Look at this. Stay right here. Okay. I'm sorry. Oop. Hit play again. I don't know what happened. The tape just went off. What happened? Somebody tripped over the cord. We lost power? Oh. I'm sorry? They say the power's out. Yeah, I needed a rest. The Aborigine troupe that I toured with, I actually went back, I toured 3 times, Mananjali Ngumbia. And I will tell you that I did have political difficulties. The Aborigines in Australia are put down far worse than Native Americans in the United States. The Prime Minister, several politicos told me I couldn't do it. So my wife and I took the money of our own pockets. We bought the Aborigines in. We bought a Maori troupe from New Zealand. We danced. I got in trouble. And you want to know, do you know that there are producers in the United States who will not invite me to their conference because of the difficulties that I had in Australia? Can you believe that? True story. He said he wouldn't invite me because I had troubles in Australia, because I danced with Aborigines. See, The Aborigine troop, what happened was, this was on the my second trip back. We decided to get together before the tour and just kind of talk. And they had brought their gear, I brought mine. We said, you know what, let's go out to the park. It's essentially Central Park in Brisbane, Australia. And we started to dance, and the crowd started to gather. We had several hundred. You know something? I hadn't even started my second tour, and I was already in trouble with the cops for dancing in a public park without a license. We weren't. It was just a celebration. Are we ready? No. Anything you've ever wanted to ask an Indian? Anything you ever wanted to ask an Indian, but you never had a chance? This is this is it. This is your one chance. You can ask any question you want to ask, and I'll answer it here today. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. It's about the choreography, if you don't mind. We're just wasting time. I apologize, but I'm not an electric warrior, so I can dance. There are some basic steps. It's, you know, keeping the beat. Little kick step. But then the touching the four corners, doing fours. You're hopping on one leg, touch, front, side, back, side again. Side, front, side, back again. There are some basic steps. When we compete, we have to show balance. If I do a turn to the left, then at some point shortly thereafter, I have to do a turn to the right. We have steps, let's do Plains Buffalo. I mean, I ain't doing nothing here. Oh, it's on. Now, he just finished, thank you guys. He just finished his courtship dance. It's okay. Let's do a courtship dance. This is what every man would have to do. God bless you. You allergic to feathers? I gotta stand over here. That's called a squat. Point is, you have to get back up. But you have to do it in time to the music. You have to keep the beat. This is Mananjali Nyugombia. Look at that attitude. We toured with them. They were so cool. We're trying to get a grant now, National Endowment Foundation, in the hopes that we get to bring Mananjali Nyugombia back. I have toured the United States. I've gone to public schools. I've had the privilege of being in universities. They gave me a report card. Kids gave me report cards. Teachers gave me report cards. Best one I ever got, I got an A+ for dancing from a little girl in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The point of this is, particularly for this conference, I was on a program called Hey Dude. I played an Indian water well digger. I used to hunt out water. I was a consultant. I helped the young Native American man there learn his language. And I have done commercials. I have done documentaries. I've been in Europe. I've been on TV. And you know what? The one thing everybody remembers, Hey Dude. Here is Guest Ranch this is in Arizona. Mananjali Nyugombia, toured with them. Australia, toured with a Maori group. The point of this is, folks, I am Native American. Saying the words doesn't make it happen. Wearing the choker, wearing a feather doesn't make it happen. Having said that, being Native American has no weight, no more than you being Anglo-Caucasian, Oriental, any other race. Being Native American does not elevate us to some status where we should be put on a pedestal. I'm sorry, but we don't don't deserve it. I am personally ashamed of some people who go around saying, I'm Native American, therefore I'm special and you should listen to me. Kiss my feet, give me a donation. Follow me, I'm the Messiah. Angels, throughout history, particularly in the last few thousand years, they've been a phenomena that is recognized world round. Now, sometimes they're called spirit guides, sometimes they're called messengers. According to the dictionary, they're go-betweens between the Great Spirit, God, the Creator, whatever word you want to use, and humankind. This, Gabriel, one of the only angels mentioned in the Bible. Now, Gabriel, many stories about him. Stand still, he says, right here. Don't move. Good luck. Angels are musicians. Angels are flute players. Angels play the lute. Angels provide us with heavenly music. Angels. This was Michael. Oh, Michael, the archangel, the epitome, the ultimate angel. Well, what most people don't know is that in the early first few hundred years of Christianity, the early church fathers were repelled by the concept of an angel. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is my favorite angel, Lucifer. Now, I'm not satanic. I'm not pro-Lucifer. I just happen to like the fact that he challenged everything, questioned authority, and said, wait a minute, why? A demon is a messenger between the spirits that be and humankind. If you look in the dictionary, the difference between demon and angel is so slight, it's almost non-existent. Angels existed in many, many forms. This angel was a composite of dozens and dozens of nasty, vile, evil angels. And then, probably one of the most famous, Baphomet. Supposedly the god of the Templar Knights, the one that they fell on their knees and worshipped. They had his head in their temples and in their churches. No. In fact, the world's oldest religion, we show what Baphomet really was, and you're going to be surprised. Want a hint? It's a divine female that was vilified and made evil by later religions that insisted that the divine being had to be male. This, ladies and gentlemen, take a very close look, because this is an artist rendition of the very, very first angel, one of the oldest ones. She was known as the Sphinx. The original Sphinx had a black woman's head. Go home, take a look at the Sphinx, look at it carefully today, because it wouldn't take a great deal with a little pencil to extend out the face and show it's a black woman. Ooh, this one of the oldest statues found in the Middle East, and it shows a reptilian female, a divine reptilian female nursing a little reptilian baby, the first virgin mother and holy son of all the stories throughout history. A reptilian female. Ooh, if any of you have read the Terra Papers, if you follow the world's oldest series religion, we're suggesting that, in fact, the world's oldest religion is not only about a divine goddess, about a female, it's also about a reptilian female. Angels, many forms, many different styles. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are messengers that go between the Great Spirit and humankind in the Hopi world, in my world. This is a Kachina. Monongaya, the blue lizard Kachina. This Kachina is the bringer of romance, the bringer of fire, the bringer of passion. If you get a blue lizard carving from a carver and you bring it home, then it means that you're going to have a new love. You're going to have fire. You're going to have passion. You're going to have romance. If you've been married 20 years and the fire is dying out, bring the blue lizard home, and he will dance for you. This is Honan. Honan the badger. Now, the badger is a healer. The badger is capable of healing anyone in the home who has an illness. The badger is probably one of the most prized and sought-after carvings, the Kachinas. This is Shaliko Taka. This is the rain cloud man. When he is impersonated, when the dancers don the costume, he stands over 10 feet tall. This is Shalikomana, the female. Now, what is most important about these two dancers is, according to Hopi prophecy, according to the legends, when Shalikomana and Shalikotaka dance together in the plaza, the fourth world is about to come to an end. It is a signal. It is a signpost. And they danced a little less than 10 years ago. Watch the Hopis carefully, folks. We are saying, this is Eototo, the father of all Kachinas. Eototo. From him, all other Kachinas, all other spirits, all other powers are born. What is most curious about his name is that it is virtually identical to the Babylonian name Eata, which literally meant the first creator, the omnipotent creator. Eata in Babylon, thousands of years ago, Eototo in the Hopi world. Hahaiwuuti. Hahaiwuuti is the embodiment of the female. She is the mother of all things. From her, all things are born. If you ever receive a carving, or if you commission or you bring a carving into your home, Hahaiwuuti is the bringer of fertility, of strength, of courage, of health, of beauty, being the most positive, you name it, she is the superlative for women. Hahaiwuuti and her husband, Eototo, are accompanied by Ahula. Now, Ahula is known as the companion. There's an interesting word. A companion who accompanies the father. On his back, he wears a cape with a red and blue and yellow face. And when he appears along with the father, once again, it is a signal that the world is about to come to an end. These are the Mana Kachinas. This particular one is, this is the Corn Maiden. This Mana represents maidenhood. This is the Sun Kachina, Dawa. Dawa. He represents the warmth, the power to make things grow, the fertility of the earth. The Dawa Kachina brought into the home assures you that you will all have a bright sunny day in your home. This is Muna. Muna represents the moon. Interesting. Represents the magic and the mystery of women. Muna gives women the ability to do magic, and you don't have to wait 28 days. Sahu, the star Kachina. He wears a bright white star on his face, stars in his hair. He appears with yucca whips, and he descends on anyone in a plaza, be it a dancer, be it someone in the audience. You go and visit the Hopi reservation, and if he's upset with what you're doing, Sahu will descend on you with the yucca whip, I promise, and he is not pretending. This is the blue star Kachina, Nangasohu. He is known because he has a long trailing star, a long trailing headdress that flows behind him. It is said that when he appears, the fourth world is about to come to an end. Recently, in the Morning Sky Prophecies and other books, I have been suggesting that the comet Hale-Bopp fulfills the prophecies of Nangasohu. Where am I leading with this? I am suggesting that a cycle is about to close. Nangasohu, the mysterious one, followed by Iwiro. Iwiro, black and white face. He is the protector of the night and day. He's the policeman. He's the one that makes sure that all Hopi live up to the traditions, and that if a young man can't dance, it is his task to push him and to make sure that he does dance. Ilili the witch. Once he was an antagonist of the Hopi. We didn't like Ilili. Ilili used to give us problems. And then he found somebody he didn't like even more than the Hopi. Ilili now descends upon white men. And he forces them to watch Jerry Springer. Yo way. Yo, Jerry Springer. God. No Indian would ever have come up with Jerry Springer. Yo way. The slayer of alien gods. The Kachina, whose responsibility and duty it is to descend upon any divine being who has no place on this world, and he does away with him. Koyemsi, the mudhead. This is our story, our explanation of the first man. When first man emerged, he had little mud blobs for ears, little mud blobs for eyes. This is a man made of mud, Koyemsi. He represents all men. And this is how we looked when we first emerged from Shipapu, the opening in Mother Earth from which all human beings are born. Koyemsi is followed by, this is Umau, sometimes known as Masao. Now, Masao is said to be the owner of planet Earth. That we human beings, that we Hopi, had to come and ask permission from Masao in order to live here. And we came upon an agreement with him, and we are now beginning to break it. The Hopi people are breaking their covenant with Masao, and he's getting upset. Now, this is a fertility Kachina. Any woman who wanted to have a child within a year, all she had to do was to run up, dance, get next to the dancer, rub his tummy. If you have a fertility Kachina, bring it into your home. In 9 months, you will be pregnant. Or, according to tradition, if you do not get pregnant, you will become crazy. You will go insane. One woman asked me, what's the difference? Okay. I almost hesitate to show you this one. This is Kokopelli. Kokopelli is the seducer. He is the orgy starter. He is the one that seduces women. Sometimes he's known as the humpback flute player because he's supposed to have a hump. It is not a deformity. It is a bag. It is a sack of gifts that he uses to seduce young women. In his presence, it is said that women cannot resist the urge. So I admire how you're holding back, ladies. Now, this is his counterpart, Kokopelli Mana. Now, Kokopelli Mana represents the seduction of men. It is said that no man can refuse her. When she appears in the plaza, and I am saying that women will impersonate her, she appears in the plaza, she singles out a man, and she goes after him. If she catches him, she throws him on the ground, jumps on top of him, and ladies, he has to make her smile, because if he doesn't, he'll never make another woman smile ever again. This is Heheya, more to that story. Heheya, the erotic Kachina. He's the attendee. Whenever Kokopelli Mana, Kokopelli go out and they begin the orgies and they begin the passion fest, it is Heheya who keeps people in the circle. He carries ropes, he carries anything necessary, chocolates. I know about women and chocolate. This is Soyoko. Now, this lady here has one job. Her job is to come to the reservation in February. She knocks on the door, and she demands every little bad boy, every little bad girl to be brought out so that she and her family can eat them. She is an ogre. Now, this is her husband, Chaveyo. Soyoko and Chaveyo carry meat cleavers. They carry hacksaws, handsaws, ropes, knives, tomahawks, anything that they can. In order to gather up the children, here's the uncle, by the way. This is Chaveyo's uncle. Carries a meat cleaver. And they carry bags on their back. And they throw the bad kids in the bag. And I got to tell you, when I was 5, I was on the res. And I'm sitting there, and there's a knock. My reservation mom goes, Go see who's at the door. I open the door. It's the family. So Yoko leans in. You've been bad. I'm going to eat you. Her family's behind her. No, I want first bite. No, I want first bite. I saw this. I ran to my mom. I said, Mom, it's for you. No good. Doesn't work. Because the Hopi children are taught, look, you made the mistake. You have to pay the price. Mom comes out. She protests. She pleads. No, the ogres won't listen to her. Grandma, granddad, everybody comes out and no, they're not going to listen to her. And I tell you what, every little boy who's been bad has to go out and catch a mouse for her. Every little girl has to make peaky bread. And she said, I tell you what, you catch me a mouse and I'll come back in 3 days and I won't eat you. You know what? I'd have gone to New York City to get this woman a mouse. But I'll tell you something, as really shocking, as traumatic as it might seem, no Hopi child ever blames anyone else ever again because he knows he's not going to get off the hook. Yapa the mockingbird taught the languages to humankind. Many Hopi carvers will not produce him. I'm one of the few who will. It is said that Yapa the mockingbird taught women how to speak. Some Hopi men don't make him anymore. Kwahu the eagle Kachina, the most powerful, the epitome of Kachinas. He is the bringer of truth and wisdom and courage and strength and beauty. He is the one who helps you achieve your dreams. He is the one who helps you soar. He is the one who takes you to your rightful place in the stars. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a fallacy, yeah, like there's just one, in the civilized world. Now, I got a problem. I'm a primitive and I'm a savage, but I'm not stupid. I know something. We're star beings, folks. If you believe in angels, if you believe in the Sphinx, if you believe in the goddess, if you believe in God, it doesn't matter to me what you believe in. You know, bottom line, what the story is? We are descended of star beings. And I resent, maybe it's the renegade in me, but I resent it when people say, I'm only human. I'm human, I make mistakes. I didn't mean to soil the blue dress. I was bad. Messengers from heaven. And I am proud to belong to a small group of star warriors. We are dancers. We are messengers. I know you're not going to see this, but a dance of celebration. The buffalo. Stop. Shake off the dust like the buffalo. Now remember, you're going to have to do this, guys, if you're a native. Watch this one. Now, you got to do that one, or, yeah, go ahead. Going down to 50 pounds is easy. You're star beings. You're descended from the stars. And I don't care what your terminology is. I don't care how you phrase it. I am created in the image of God. Created in the image of the goddess. Created in the image of star beings. I don't care. The point is this. We're star beings. And in this universe, this is our home. This is it, guys. It's not a turf in LA. It's not Denver. It's not Phoenix. This is my home. This is your home. And you know what? We're not alone. We're not alone. Comet Hale-Bopp is a significant comet in that I suggest it is the comet of prophecy. A cape with red, yellow, and blue. The comet Hale-Bopp fulfills numerous Hopi prophecies. Time permitting, we'll do it tomorrow. About a year ago, I went to Zurich, Switzerland. Can you see me walking down Switzerland avenues? And I went there, and I had the great good fortune to be in the company of people like Graham Hancock, Robert Balvel. Who else was on there? Carlotti was there. Giorgio Bongiovanni was there. Who else, crew? Who was there? Yeah. No. Sorry. Apologize. Yeah, I don't believe he was there. And I released a book in Zurich. And I tried to make my case and saying that Comet Hyakutake, Hale-Bopp, or the combination of the two, is going to be followed by another star. There's a progression in the skies that we have to look for, and it's happening. And in Switzerland, I was trying to make a point. We are star beings. And until we start thinking like star beings, until we start acting like star beings, until we start acting as if we are possessed of the fire of angels, the wisdom and the passion of Kachinas, the strength and the power of the Sphinx. They are our brothers and sisters, guys. There's no mystery about the Sphinx. Look at her. It's one of our sisters, man. And I tried to make this point. Guys, we're star beings. And in Australia, 8 years ago, on the tour with the Aborigines, some people in Australia said, well, Robert, what do you think? I started talking about prophecies, and I prophesized, yeah. I said, you know what the pattern is? In the next few years, we're going to become comet collision conscious. In 1991, I said, you're going to start seeing comets everywhere. Movies, advertisements, commercials, magazines. We're going to have to start watching out for the comets. You know why? Because the prophecies tell us, both in Egypt and Hopi and other native, savage, primitive worlds, that the Divine One is coming back. And she's not happy. And so the leaders of this world are going to have to get together and put a united front out there. They're not going to say something like, she's coming back and she's pissed. They're going to say, incoming, we've got to get a super weapon, something that's going to knock her presence out of the sky. We've got to come up with new miracles. We've got to come up with some new things. And one of the ideas that they came up with in the late 40s was a concept called UFOs. Now, there are some books I highly recommend. I really think it's worth investigating. This is Clifford Stone's book, UFOs Are Real. Now, whether you like it or not, you need to get a hold of the Air Force book, Case Closed. I know it seems ridiculous, as if something happened at Roswell, right? I'm a primitive. I'm a savage. I live out under the night stars. I prefer to be there. My people do. And if something happened in Roswell in New Mexico, what people are going to be outside watching the skies? The farmers? The soldiers? Or the Indians? And you know what Indians saw? Balloons. And they saw other things. I think something happened at Roswell. I do. Not what they're telling you. Not at all. I love this one. See this thing? This sucker fell in 1972. And the people in Roswell must have made a mistake in their memories. What? Are discs, flying discs, real? Yes. Are they UFOs? Well, we can't identify them. Yes. Now, I'm going to cut short right here. I'm going to ask you to stop the tape. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a savage. I'm a primitive. I'd like to... Is this mic on? Can I switch mics here? Can you hear it? Okay. I am a savage. I am a primitive. And I prepared myself for this conference. These are 300 pages of notes. It's entitled Blasphemy and Sacrilege 101, Denver. Ladies and gentlemen, the bulk of the reports of UFOs, do I sound like a lecturer here? The bulk of the reports of UFOs always include mysterious lights, lights that dance in the sky, lights that zigzag, lights that move extraordinary speeds, lights that make 180-degree turns, 45-degree turns. They must be UFOs. They must be manned by extraterrestrials. They must be, in some form or fashion, guided by an intelligent race. Yes, I agree with all of that. But you want to know something, folks? A dancing light does not an extraterrestrial make. Does anybody know what high mat is? High mat. It's not a greeting, hi Matt. It's a technology. Now, excuse me here a minute. I'm just, see, I get worked up. This is my headdress. By the way, it's called a roach. All right, dude. Unmanned aerial vehicles. In 1937, the U.S. Navy flew a Curtiss N2C-2 radio-controlled pilotless aircraft. The U.S. Navy was flying pilotless aircraft in 1937. In 1944, the Germans flew drone aircraft known as Feisler F-1-103s, later designated as FZGs 76s, known to the common public as buzz bombs, V-1s and V-2s, 1944. The Germans also developed HS-293 Henschels, PG-400Xs, or the Fritz Xs, the DO-217Ks, hundreds of them. In retaliation, the United States flew TDR-1 unmanned attack aircraft. The Japanese flew Yokosuka MXY-8s OHKAs, also known as Bakas or Flying Bettys. These are in the 1940s, folks. In 1947, the German scientists brought to the United States under Operation Paperclip developed pilotless F-6F Hellcats, F-9F Panthers, P-2V Neptunes, and PB-4Ys. Remember the old amphibious craft? They turned them into unmanned pilotless radio-controlled aircraft. The Germans also developed something that was known as a foo-ball, a round flying object that when it flew close to another vehicle, particularly airplanes, it caused the engines to stop, to seize, and they fell from the sky in 1944. In the 1950s, the United States used F-6F 5K Hellcat drones and AD-20 Skyraider pilotless aircraft. Where am I going with this? Since the 1940s and the 1950s, the skies have been filled with pilotless aircraft capable of making maneuvers that no human pilot could withstand. They carried beacons and lights to prevent collisions. In the 1960s, the United States used KH-50C helicopter drones in Vietnam. They were known as flying peanuts. In Vietnam, drones were hovering over the jungles used to find Charlie, the VC. They also used drone anti-submarine DSN-1s, QH-50 Ryan 234 Firebees, QH-50Ds, Dornier DO-32 used GEMOs and CMOs vertical takeoff UAVs in the 1960s. In the 1960s, the Q-2C Firebee was a drone that was flown throughout the United States, tested particularly in the Southwest. It was developed and used by the Israelis in their wars, the Seven-Day War, and you know something? They weren't shot down. SR-71 stealth craft flew in the United States. They flew in Vietnam in the late 1960s. No public member, no officer in the Air Force or Army was advised until 1970. In '69, the United States developed the super-secret AQM-91 Teledyne Ryan Model 154 URA unmanned reconnaissance aircraft. What is that? A craft that hovered, nearly silent, and had a collision light. In the early 1970s, Israel began to develop its own UAV Mastiffs. On and on and on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, there's 3 pages here. Let me read you just what is available in the present-day market today. Unmanned aerial aircraft in the shape of peanuts, cones, cylinders, diamonds, triangles, rectangles, cylinders, cigars, and discs. Today, Switzerland flies the Ranger, the TRW-1A1 twin-engine Hunter. The Israelis fly the, that's IAI Shadow Searcher and Heron, the Firebird 2001, the Hermes Silver Arrow. The Hungarian Czechs fly the Sochka 3, also known as the Omnipol. India flies the Nishant. South Africa flies the Kentron Seeker. Russia flies the Yak-25RV, DPL A60S, Pishla and Shmel. The Shevronik, which I'm sure is wrong. The Kolobri, the Soviet LA-17R, the KA-37 mini helicopter. Red China flies the KG-1, the PLAF Tu-4. The Dutch fly the Sperwer. France flies the Nord R-20, GT-20, the CAC Fox AT-1, the Fox AT-2, the Vigilant. The Italians run the Mirage 26, the Dragonfly helicopter. The Dutch Alvis rotary engine Marula, on and on and on. What's my point? My point. Hello. I'm a savage. I'm a primitive. And I look up in the sky and I see a light and it's dancing and it's zigzagging. That does not make an extraterrestrial, folks. But you know what? Civilized people go, UFO. Lights over Phoenix. Ugh. Must be extraterrestrial. I'm the savage, guys. I look in Jane's directory. I look in some of the stealth craft directories. I go to the air bases and I check out the new stealth craft. I see some sucker zipping back and forth. I know it's a jet. By the way, one of the latest technologies being developed in the United States is something that is known as HIMAT. HIMAT is highly maneuverable unmanned aircraft capable of making 180-degree turns in less than 10 seconds. Phoenix Lights believers in 1996 Aviation Week and Space Technology carried advertisements from Raytheon E-Systems for smart flares. Flares that can be radio controlled or towed behind other aircraft. They do not act like other flares. They're smart flares. Popular Mechanics carried an article in 1991 on America's new secret aircraft, diamond-shaped discs, triangles. And finally, have you ever heard of MEM? Microcraft, little flying planes that are 4 inches wide. Little discs, the Cypher helicopter, 6 inches wide. They hover, they stand still, they're virtually silent, and by flicking the light on, they can make them move in any direction they want and make a civilized man go, UFO! And a primitive savage sits down and goes, there goes that white man again. I'm the savage. I'm the primitive. How come I ain't fooled? Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to turn you into Indians for just a few minutes, okay? You're Indians with me tonight, okay? Cherokee, Ojibwa, Lakota Sioux, Apache, Hopi. I'm sure, you know, I know what Indians used to do a lot, right? So you all bound to have Indian in you somewhere. I tell you, after them powwows, Indians love to dance. I'm going to turn you into an Indian. Okay? Listen to me. My brothers, my red-blooded brothers and sisters, savages and primitives, the government's lying to you. Duh. I marvel. I was listening to the announcers on MSNBC and CNN, and they're going, that president lied to us. You know, you could have asked the average citizen of the United States, and they'd have said, Bill's lying. 2 nights ago, I hear the explanation. Bill and Monica were alone. She did something to Bill. She had sex with him, but he didn't do nothing to her. He didn't have sex with her. My savage brothers and sisters, that's a white man talking. You're the new Indians. Hundreds of years ago, some Indians were on the seashore at the edge of the world, and a UFO appeared, an unidentified floating object. And it was a huge mothership. And some of the primitives said, what is that? It was well beyond their conception. We didn't have the technology. They couldn't imagine what it was. And they ran to the chief. UFO. What you been smoking, son? And they went to the edge of the world, and they looked out. And here came little ships, carrying these very pale-faced aliens. And the aliens showed up, and they said, we come bearing tidings from the Divine One. We come from a place far, far away, and we will share with you the universal truth. And the rumors began to spread. The benevolent aliens are here. They're going to make us human beings. They're going to show us the way. They're going to give us technology. They're going to heal us. And excuse me, but I belong to a culture that is nearly dead because of benevolent aliens. Now you are the new Indians. And when a light dances in the sky and some white man goes, E.T. extraterrestrial alien must be, hey, pick up Jane's directory, look at the latest stealth craft technology, and knock it off. You know those discs that you just saw? That doesn't prove it's an extraterrestrial. Good Lord, 50 years ago, the Germans were flying discs. I'm the savage. I'm the primitive, folks. And I ain't fooled. So we got put on reservations by the benevolent aliens for our own good. And a cavalry soldier came. And he said, this is your home. It's good. You make real good here. Yeah. And so my great uncle said, my great uncle, his name was Heyokla. And Heyokla said, nah, I ain't going there. And so he took off. And he stayed in the hills for a long, long time until a scout, a man who believed in what he had been told, Tom Horn. Tom Horn found Heyokla, and he said, you have to go on the reservation. Your people will be better off. Great White Father, which I got to tell you, that's not exactly what Indians call the president. Okay? Great White Father is not exactly right. Great White Mother is better. Very loose translation here. And Tom Horn said, look, you have to go on the reservation. The Great White Father has promised me that you would have land, you would have wealth, you would have food, you would live in peace, and you would live in calm. And Heyokla surrendered. He surrendered, and Tom Horn brought him in. And as soon as he got to the fort, you know what happened? The soldiers descended on Heyokla, on Geronimo. and on his band, and they removed him from Arizona, and they took him to Florida. The Great White Father lied to Tom Horn. Now, Tom Horn believed in what he was saying. He did, or he would never have persuaded Geronimo to give it up. But Tom Horn was betrayed. So let me tell you something, savage brothers and primitive sisters. When somebody stands in front of you and says, "This is the way it is, because I had contact with the Great White Father. I had contact with the Great White ETs. I had contact with," I don't care who you had contact with. Here's the point. This is what makes me savage. This is what makes me a renegade. You tell me, I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I want the proof. I don't care what your claim is, because you know something? I belong to a people who were promised and told and said all kinds of things, and guess what? We got screwed. So, ladies and gentlemen, from this moment, actually, from the moment I started, anytime you go to a conference, anytime you go to a lecture, anytime someone makes a claim, be primitive and be savage and look for the proof. I want to see more. You're being, not deliberately, but you're being deceived. Okay? My people got screwed because we believed in people who made claims, who believed in the claims, and they couldn't prove it. Now you're here, and I'm here, because we know we're being lied to. We know Billy Boy lied. We know the CIA lies. We know the IRS, the FBI, you name it. They lied to us. It's their job. It's in the job description, national security, black ops. I don't care what you call it. It's the business of the government to lie, okay? It's the job. What are you so upset about? You're being lied to. But you wouldn't be here if you didn't know that, and you're going, wait a minute, there's something else here, something else going on here. And the answer is not in a dancing light. It is not in a disc that comes and plops itself down in Central Park. The answers are in you if you're a renegade and you're not going to accept blindly what people tell you. God, give me some angel. This is a dance designed to incite. I have my little brother Mike. Where is he? Do I look like an Indian here? Mike, where's Jeannie and Joni? Jeannie, Joni. Oh, my sister Jeannie. Where's Joni? Joni, do you know that these foolish people have taken to heart my warning? Don't accept blindly. Challenge everybody. Question everything. Put me at the top of the list. Don't accept anything I said. Oops. Look up the Kachinas. Make me earn your respect. When you listen to my tapes, when you read my books, challenge them, question them, rip them apart, check the sources, make me prove my case. But don't stop there. From here on in, if you want to know the truth, Stop accepting. Every speaker that comes up here and plops down his book, make him earn your respect. Make him prove his case to you. You got to see it. You got to touch it. Now, Blasphemy and Sacrilege 101 tomorrow night. I don't know what time the workshop's at. Do we have a workshop? Maybe not. Blasphemy and sacrilege. Truth does not lie in faith. Truth lies in knowledge and in wisdom. If you have knowledge, if you have wisdom, you know. I will not challenge your faith. I will not challenge your belief. But do not try to sell it to me unless you've got proof. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I'm a savage, and I'm a primitive. And to you, savages and primitives, one last dance, I'm out of here. Bob's Fancy. Remember, fire, passion, romance. Never accept. Challenge everyone, question it, and make everybody who says he knows prove it to you.
Worth your time, was it? 6:30 tomorrow night will be the start of his workshop, 6:30 to 9:30, and the room will be posted outside as to which one it will be. So if you want to get more of that, if you want to sign up for workshops, the 3 or 4 or all the workshops for tonight are posted on the board outside. And if you want to start taking care of that now tonight, you can. The rooms will be assigned later after we find out how many people sign up for each workshop, because the different rooms have different capacities. Now remember to be back first thing tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock for door prizes. We want to see you get in on some of the latest underwater filming in the Pacific that Boris Said will be able to present to us, and it's only been back 4 or 5 days. You'll get to see it several months ahead of when it will be appear on television. So now visit the exhibits, visit each other, meet 2 new people every day. Oh, the keys have been found. Okay. Oh, and we had a set of lost keys on the table. Maybe that's the ones. Thank you very much, Robert Morning Sky, for being with us tonight. We sure appreciate your being with us, and I know all of our people did as well. If you want to talk to him tomorrow night at workshop or whenever he's available, he has a table back there with tapes, records, and run by Gene Romero and the other lady with him. So, folks, you're free to go tonight to do whatever you want to do, as long as your stamina will allow, and be back tomorrow morning, first thing, 8 o'clock for door prizes plus.